Hey guys, tired of feeling stuck in your dating life and striking out in the dating game? You're not alone. Maybe you just need some good coaching. Welcome to Just Ask Her, the no BS podcast for real dating advice straight from a woman's point of view. Dating expert Gracie Pleshcourt and her co-host, certified life coach Tracy Pleshcourt, are here to give you the play-by-play on how to attract more women you're interested in. So, let's take back control of your dating life. This is Just Ask Her.
Welcome back. This is episode 12, and this is our special Valentine's Day edition.
Yes. I believe we're dropping this episode a day early, just so that we can give you guys a little bit more time to listen so that you can take everything you learn and apply it to this Valentine's Day.
Yeah. This is, if you want it to be, I think that this could be the last Valentine's Day that you're single.
Yeah.
I know that there are a lot of people out there that have been listening to this podcast that have created a new perspective because of what they've learned. And if it's your goal to create a relationship in this next year, I would highly recommend that you continue to come back to this podcast, submit a question of your own. It's all about being more intentional in the way you think and feel. That's what all of this boils down to, which doesn't come naturally.
Yeah.
I need my own coach to remind me sometimes how things are actually within my control. Without that reminder, I immediately think this is outside of my control. This isn't fair. This shouldn't be happening. So hopefully you're starting to see that pattern and you're starting to realize that, any goal that you have, whether it's a relationship goal or a professional goal or a health and wellness goal, all of it is within your control. So thank you for listening.
Yeah. So we're super excited about this episode. I think that you guys are going to get a lot that you can walk away from and actually apply to your Valentine's Day this year. So I'm super excited about that. I'm also hosting a live Valentine's Day Masterclass. So this Friday, February 14th at 5 p.m. Central Time, 2025, I am hosting this live Valentine's Day Masterclass for single men. So if you are the guy that is putting in the effort and still getting ghosted, if you're the guy that doesn't feel attractive compared to other men, if you're the guy who feels like he has to lower his standards in dating in hopes of landing more dates, if you're the guy who feels like you've got it going on, you're a great catch, and for some reason women just don't see it, this masterclass is for you. You definitely should show up to this masterclass because I'm going to teach you how to become the man that women are actually looking for, how to become the man that women actually take notice of. So I'm super excited. I've been working really hard on this class for you guys. It's totally free, but you should treat it like you spent a lot of money on it because that's how good the content is in this masterclass. So I'll leave the link to sign up for that in the show notes attached to this show. So if you haven't yet grabbed your spot, grab it now. They are filling up so fast and we do have a limit. Zoom only allows us to have a certain amount of people signed up for this class. So go grab your spot before they're all gone. I cannot believe how fast people are signing up for this.
I was just going to say that. So I don't think there's any harm in sharing that you have 1,000-person capacity and you are quickly approaching that.
Yeah.
So claim your seat, but also show up, like get there a little bit ahead of time so that
you for sure get in.
Yeah. And then the other thing is you're not sending out a recording, correct?
Right. Yeah. If you don't make it live, you unfortunately miss it. So put this on your calendar. Make sure if this is something you want to attend, if this is something that you want to get serious about and you want to take full advantage of this class, put it on your calendar, set reminders, do all the things you have to do in order to make sure that you're on this class live, because it's not recorded. So if you miss it, you miss it. So be there. I am so excited. You are going to walk away with so much from that class if you decide to attend. So it's going to be good.
Yep. All right. Well, so anything happened since the last time we recorded?
Well, the Super Bowl was yesterday.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
It was a surprise. I thought for sure we were going to see the Kansas City Chiefs repeat for a three-peat. Yeah. And we didn't. And I mean, I kept asking people, we had family over to celebrate Grandpa's 83rd birthday.
Yeah.
Which today is actually his birthday.
I know. I've got to call him.
So we invited extended family over to kind of surprise him. And I kept saying, is it possible that this score could end in 0? Like, could the Eagles shut out the Kansas City Chiefs? Wouldn't that be crazy? And Dad said he didn't think that's ever been done. Like that there has ever been a shutout.
Yeah, I wonder if this was like the closest to it.
Talk about humbling.
Yeah, no kidding. You could just like see the defeat on those players'
Patrick
faces.
Mahomes' face.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you could tell that it felt like they kind of gave up after a certain point, because it was just like, maybe unexpected for them.
Came out of nowhere, right?
I don't know. I kind of had a feeling that the Eagles were going to win.
Huh. Interesting. I only based on past experience, I thought, Kansas City Chiefs have won the last 2 times. They're going to win again. But typically when I use that sort of rationalization, it always works out the other way. So,
yeah. Well, what was the weird color thing?
Yeah. So Griffin was telling us that
my brother,
the past, I think he said 5 years, the Super Bowl logo has been created from the colors of the 2 teams that have actually made it to the Super Bowl. But not like intentionally, like they create it. I was just going to say that. Oh. So the crazy thing is that the logo is revealed 1 year ahead of time. So for the past 5 years, the color combinations have ironically been of the 2 teams that have made it in. So it was revealed yesterday, I believe, what the 2026 Super Bowl logo looks like. And guess what color is in it? Purple, which I, of course, got all excited. And Griffin quickly said, don't get too excited, because there are other teams that have purple in their, whatever, their brand. So, but at least it's a step in the right direction. There's a chance.
Yeah, maybe.
So yeah, that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the halftime show?
I thought it was good. Yeah, I think that was actually probably one of the better ones I think we've seen in a little bit.
I'm guessing the audience that is listening or watching would probably agree with you. I feel like my generation was sitting there just scratching their head like, what are we watching right now? Like, I mean, first off, there was a lot going on in our house. We had a lot of little kids here.
Yeah.
And, so it was hard to hear, but I was trying to pay attention. And I'm like, what is he even saying? I literally could not make out the words that he was saying. And then, I mean, I love dancing just as much as the next guy, like good choreography. I do. And I'm watching these dancers like, oh my God, how old am I? It was not at all appealing to me. Griffin was sending me texts like all the way up to midnight, trying to bring me up to speed with like the meaning behind him, the performer, and the messaging behind his performance. And
because of the feud of him and Drake, which I don't really know that much about. I just know that they're like, that's been an ongoing thing with the 2 of them. And like this song that he just won a Grammy for, and the one that he performed at the Super Bowl, was like the diss track to Drake. So like they've been in this like feud with each other. Right. And so they both put out songs about each other, from my understanding. And this was the song that he put out specifically to like shade Drake. And it ended up like going so big. And so then he won a Grammy like just a few weeks ago. And then he obviously was performing at the Super Bowl, and I guess had said like he was going to perform that song. And I guess supposedly Drake was like threatening to sue him for like, I don't even
defamation or whatever.
Yeah. For like if he actually performs the song. So who knows what's what and if any of that's even true, but I guess it makes for a good story.
Yeah. And you know, the whole dissing, it too bad. I mean, I don't know, maybe there could have been captions so I could have understood what he was actually trying to say. I don't know. It was fine.
They not like us.
Yeah.
They not like us.
I'm like, okay, gotcha. Bring back Chris Stapleton. And
yeah, I agree.
I will say the best national anthem ever performed, probably anywhere at any time, was Chris Stapleton.
Yeah.
And I
I
believe
don't remember
it was the first time that the Chiefs played the Eagles. So this was
like 3 years ago.
Right. Oh my God. It was out of this world. If you haven't seen that performance, you
go look it up.
Yeah, look it up. I mean, he is just unbelievably talented, and it just gives you chills when you hear him.
He's somebody I'd love to see live.
Me too.
Yeah, but I've heard he's not like really a great performer. Like he just is an amazing vocalist.
Right.
And so just like to hear him sing live would be amazing. But I've heard that he doesn't really put on a show.
Yeah.
He just kind of sits and sings.
Right. And if you are somebody who just appreciates the music and the talent.
Yeah.
But I
like,
think you get beyond, you know who that's exactly like George Strait. When I first saw George Strait in concert, he literally just stands there with his guitar. There is very little background, entertainment.
Well, I think there's something to be said for that, right? Like
they don't need it.
Yeah, they're just that incredible. But I also think like first,
engaging with the audience is
well,
important.
and like logistics for certain shows, especially if you're that big and you're like selling places out and stuff, like there are places like here where the acoustics suck and it's like half of the show is like the actual performance of it. And so like going to like if you were to go to like the X or the what is it?
US Bank.
Or the US Bank. Yeah, if you were go to the US Bank for a show, it's like concerts there suck. And so
depending
half
on
of
where
it
you're
is
sitting,
really the performance.
Yeah.
I mean, we were like as close as you could get to the floor for Zach Bryan, and it was like horrible. It was so hard to hear.
And ironically, if you're further up and off to an angle,
I guess
the acoustics are great. So yeah, it's something that they just have not figured out at US Bank Stadium.
Yeah.
And so I just choose not to go to concerts there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that was a little bit of a tangent.
Yeah, a little tangent if you're still with us. Yeah. But I think that it was a good performance overall. Like I actually liked I liked the aesthetic of it. I liked how clean it looked, like with like there wasn't like that much like flashy random stuff going on. It was just like a very like clean performance to me.
Yeah. I saw a few clips this morning on social media, and the red, white, and blue, and the way that they were kind of like moving their body, and it kind of actually looked like the wave of a flag. Like I didn't pick that up when I was watching it live, but the way that it was captured in a still shot, it looked really cool.
Yeah,
so
no, I feel like they did a good job with that.
it was definitely a different vibe than in past years. So I can appreciate that.
He was there in 2022 with Eminem, Dr. Dre, and Snoop Dogg, and that one felt like chaotic. Like it was just so many random things going on, like in different areas of the field. It just was like weird. Like it was just random. But this one, I felt like, even though it was just him, it wasn't like all the other.
Wasn't there another performer? Who was the girl in red who had that weird
SZA?
Is she like part of his?
No.
Oh, okay. So
she's a separate artist.
Okay. Well, she performed too.
Yeah. Exactly. But like there's been other times where it's been like a huge production and just like It's just a lot, I feel like. And it's like less about the actual music and more about the production.
Yeah.
But anyways, why don't we start talking about Valentine's Day, since that's what this episode is for.
Yeah.
So first of all, what's your take on Valentine's Day? Like, do you like Valentine's Day?
I do. I have always been somebody that loves the opportunity to kind of celebrate. I've always been somebody who rallies around themes. So as a parent in my home. So yes, I can appreciate it. I mean, thinking back to when I was younger, I don't really remember having any Valentine's Days that I kind of like internalized, the fact that I didn't have a partner or a boyfriend or whatever. I feel like if I didn't have a boyfriend, then I kind of went out with my girlfriends, and I celebrated in just a different way. And then when I had a boyfriend, it looked a little bit different, but I also can appreciate the fact that it is kind of a commercialized novelty Hallmark, type holiday too. It's funny because one of our guests last night at the Super Bowl, she is a first grade school teacher, and I was asking her about her class this year, and she said today is the first day that the kids can bring in their Valentines. And I mean, when she said that, it just immediately took me back to how much I loved. Yes, I absolutely loved that time of year, like being able to give the little cards. And I mean, I went all out with you and Griffin.
Yeah, we had like laminated. I actually got bullied for those.
What? Are you kidding me?
My friends were like, what are these?
Oh my God. Only the best Valentine's Day cards ever.
Yeah. So you want to know how over the top she is? Instead of doing like the Walmart, like paper cards where you just fill in everybody's names on them, she had them like,
boring.
But what everybody else does, like normal people.
I don't want to be like everyone else.
She created these like
playing cards
of our picture on them. And like a Valentine's Day background. And it was like, Happy Valentine's Day from love, Gracie, love, Griffin. And they were so over the top.
They were so cute.
They were so over the top. I wonder if we have any of those still.
I do. And they were meant to be a keepsake. And if your friends didn't keep them,
why would anybody keep that as a first grader?
It looks like a playing card.
One,
so cute.
One by itself. Yeah, I'm sure they all hung them on their fridges of me. So random. I'll have to if I can find a picture of that, I'll post it somewhere. But yeah, no, like those were like the little cards that you put into, at least around here, people do that places, right?
Yeah,
the little Valentine's Day boxes when you're in like elementary school.
Yeah, Teresa told me they don't do boxes. Now they do bags.
Okay. Yeah. So we used to decorate like full out decorate boxes like crazy. And then you would fill them with your Valentine. So it was like your little card along with candy that's like attached to it.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what you put in everybody's boxes in your class.
Your cards.
And my card
had your hand
bougie as hell.
Had your hand strategically placed so that you were holding
a sucker or something.
A sucker that
ridiculous.
was on the card. It was the cutest darn thing ever.
Yeah. So
one year you had your picture with the puppy.
Yeah, that's the only one I remember. I didn't know we did it more than once.
I think I did it a couple times.
Nice.
Yes. Okay. So obviously I like any reason to celebrate. I mean, I like all the holidays. I love celebrating birthdays. Like that's just part of who I am. I feel like given an opportunity to make somebody feel special, I think is really what I love. Like I think about I truly am a cheerleader at heart. I mean, I get teased a lot. See? For those of you who are watching, the eye roll just happened. My whole family teases me.
She says cheerleader at heart. She was a cheerleader in college.
I'm just trying to make the point that I was born a cheerleader. Like, I absolutely love like rooting people on. It is part of who I am. I cannot help it. I love that. And so why am I even saying
I don't know.
Because I love to make people feel special.
Okay.
So,
I love it.
Yes. So given an opportunity, I'm all about it. I think maybe, I mean, this is a little deep, but I think that's why I can't recall a Valentine's Day where I sat home and was sad about anything, because I've always kind of been that person that's motivated to make other people feel something. I mean, call it people pleasing, call it what you want. I actually do it for my own reasons, not because I'm trying to manipulate somebody. I'm trying to make somebody else feel good because that feels good to me.
Yeah. Well, and I think Valentine's Day is a lot more romanticized from a woman's point of view too.
Yes.
Like, men don't really, unless they're in a relationship, I don't think men really romanticize Valentine's Day the way that women do.
Right.
Hence why there's Galentine's Day.
Yes.
And there's
Yes.
not the equivalent for men. Like, you guys just don't like really make that big of a deal about it unless you're with somebody who does. Right. So I think that, but I do also think that if being single is something that you struggle with, or it's something that you think about a lot, then I think that this time of year especially is just like an added piece to it.
Yeah. But it doesn't have to be that way. Like,
No. Yeah.
I'm not going to go down another rabbit hole, but I mean, hear me when I say, if you are feeling lonely right now because of a date on a calendar, it doesn't have to be that way. Like, you can shift your focus.
You can decide
believe
right
something
now.
different. Decide right now to think differently. And I'm not, trying to ask you to look through rose-colored glasses. This isn't like trying to make you believe or toxic positivity, whatever you want to call it. That's not what this is. It's literally shifting your focus to something else that is just as believable. And that's the work, is finding what is just as believable that makes you feel differently.
Yeah.
On this subject or otherwise. It doesn't even have to be on this subject. If you realize that where your head goes every time you look at Valentine's Day on the calendar, then like we can work on a different thought. Like, it's just a day on a calendar.
Yeah.
That's true too, right? It is. And so obviously we're very passionate about changing the unnecessary suffering that's going on because of Valentine's Day or because of your relationship status. We can help you with that. And so
Yeah.
that's what this podcast is for. That's what the webinar is for. So
The masterclass.
the masterclass. Yeah. So listen up.
Yeah. I think that like really what we'd want you to walk away with from this episode is like how you can actually use Valentine's Day as an opportunity as a single man, right? Like, this day isn't just for couples, right? And I think, like I said, women tend to romanticize this day a whole lot. And so there are a lot of single women that are out there. And I've said this, I think I said this on last episode, like, I've been single on Valentine's Day and I have like sulked in that and felt like this sucks and like dramatized it to the point of like, I'm the only one that's single on Valentine's Day and whatever.
And if that's you, if you've done that too, use that experience to your advantage, like recognize it as contrast. You now know what it feels like to be believing that it sucks to be single on Valentine's Day. You know how that feels. Use that contrast, use that experience as contrast. So you now know you don't want to feel that way. And you'll clearly know when your thoughts or your beliefs are creating a wanted feeling, a good feeling. You'll only know that because you had the past experience, because you had the contrasting experience. So there lies the value, so you can't appreciate it. Like, it's part of life. We all feel pain sometimes. So instead of like using it against yourself, telling yourself you shouldn't have felt that way, like, no, you should have. And now you have had that experience, and you'll be able to experience the other side of the coin because you had that experience in the first place.
Yeah. Well, and if you don't want to have that experience again, like, decide right now that you're not going to, right? Decide how you would rather spend Valentine's Day as a single man, right? Like, I would say the energy is different on February 14th because you're either in a relationship or you're not. And the ones that are not, they usually are thinking about being in a relationship or wanting to be in a relationship. If you're somebody that's like sitting here not feeling great about Valentine's Day coming up. And so actually leverage that. Actually leverage the fact that there is going to be a lot of single women who wish that they were in a relationship, especially on February 14th. Like, use this day to your advantage and leverage the fact that there are a lot more single women. Like, think about it. Most of the couples are going to be off doing things with each other. So any girls that are out on Valentine's Day, they're likely single. So this is like a prime day to be like going out there and like get a group of your buddies or whoever, go by yourself and go find something to do, because there's going to be a lot of single girls hanging out for Valentine's Day. Like, ready to meet people because they want to be in a relationship.
Yeah. I just saw something, I think it was on TikTok, and it was from a guy's perspective. And he said something about, if you're looking to find the right man, look at the group of guys who are kind of organized doing something, whether it's like a fantasy football league or it's a big group of guys, out golfing or on a guy's trip. And the one that you want to find or pinpoint, the one that's going to be probably the most interesting, is the one who organized it. I was like, bingo. That's so true. I mean, that would be true for me. Like, I appreciate somebody who takes the initiative. I mean, just straight out, somebody who shows a lot of initiative I'm attracted to that kind of a person. But I also love the social aspect of it. I love the resourcefulness of that. And so be that guy. Even if that doesn't come natural to you, recognize it as an area of growth for you. And you don't have to be the guy that, organizes or plans something on Valentine's Day. If that seems too big of a leap for you.
But you could. I mean, it doesn't have to be something so dramatic. Like, it doesn't have to be you putting on the guy's version of a Valentine's Day. Like, you can just grab your buddies and say, hey, this is what we're doing. Like, I know you're not with a girlfriend right now, so get out here with me. We're going out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that if there's anything you want to commit to, I think these are 3 good things that you should right now decide that you are not going to do on Valentine's Day. And the first is sit at home and sulk. If you want to take the day to yourself and you want to treat yourself and you want to do things good for yourself, I am all for that. I would get behind that in a heartbeat. Take the day to yourself. But do not take the day to sit at home by yourself and sulk. If that's what you think you're going to do, if you think that staying home by yourself is going to make you feel more lonely, then don't do that. Like, surround yourself with people, whether that is friends, family, new people that you haven't met yet, like going out and being social. Decide for yourself what you want this day to be, especially if you are somebody who is dreading this day right now. Like, decide ahead of time what you want this day to be. Don't sit at home and sulk. Another thing is, like, don't be going on social media and like doom scrolling through all of the couple posts, all of the couples posting their Valentine's days and things like that. Or don't be going on social media posting rants about Valentine's Day. It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help you. I mean, the couples that are off doing their own thing, great, good for them. This doesn't have to be a day where you like hate all of your couple friends. I've been there. I've been there when I've been single and I've looked at everybody else. I'm just like, literally, screw you guys. Like, don't even talk to me about your Valentine's Day plans.
Which they're not. You're actually like inserting yourself by looking
totally.
at their pictures.
Totally. Yeah, exactly. So take a break from your phone if you need to on Valentine's Day, or just decide that you're not going to go on social media because you don't need to be putting yourself in that environment.
Right. Yeah. It might be a trigger for you. And
Yeah.
Know your triggers.
Yeah. And then the last one I think is very common is commit to not using this as an excuse to text somebody that it didn't work out with. Don't text an ex. Don't text the girl that ghosted you. Don't go back to old situations because you're feeling lonely. They ended for a reason and we're going to keep moving forward. And so don't use Valentine's Day as an excuse to open up old doors that don't need to be opened in your life.
Yeah. I think that is such solid advice. If you have goals that you want to consistently progress towards, you have to be looking forward. I've heard this analogy a million times, and I'm sure you guys have too, but you cannot move forward by looking in the rear view mirror. Like, so many people are like catastrophizing their past, or they're using the past as evidence for how unfair life is or how wrong they were. And it's just let that go. Use it for data. Do not use it for dramatic reasons, and just keep your focus on what's ahead. And I know that's easier said than done because it's human nature to rehash the past. But even if you can be a little bit more keen or aware of your brain doing that, I mean, just noticing it is going to be helpful for you because you can connect the dots between, oh, when I think about the past, I feel bad. And when I look at the future and look at the possibilities, I feel hopeful. I feel even neutral, which is much different than feeling sad, right? So keep your focus on what's up ahead. Notice like that you are actively working on yourself, and the past had a purpose. It taught you something, and the end, that can be the end of that story. You don't have to use it against yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So this week I've been getting a lot of questions specific to Valentine's Day and this topic. So I compiled all of them for you guys so that we could talk about them on today's podcast. So one of the questions was, so if you're newly dating someone, should you bring up Valentine's Day or just let it happen? What would you say?
I would say yes, bring it up.
Yeah.
Without like making it a big deal, or I think the worst thing you could do is ignore it.
Yeah,
because
definitely
I think
don't
ignoring
ignore
it is going to create a little bit of awkwardness.
Yeah.
A simple, very casual mention like, hey, Valentine's Day is coming up. What's your
say
thoughts?
like, hey, Valentine's Day is this Friday. Do you have plans?
Yeah.
I agree. You don't need to make it into this big thing. I want to take you out for a romantic dinner.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
if you guys have only been on a few dates, don't do that. But definitely acknowledge it. If this is somebody that you want to spend Valentine's Day with, or you'd like to go out with again, like you don't need to avoid it or feel like the day itself puts a lot of pressure on your guys' situation. I think that most girls, if they're interested in a guy, they want to be asked out for Valentine's Day. They want to have somebody to go out on a date with on Valentine's Day. And so I think that if you have somebody in mind that you'd like to take out, just, send a very simple message like, hey,
low pressure, open-ended is what I would say.
It doesn't have to be over the top. It doesn't have to be like this extravagant plan because it's Valentine's Day. It can be like any other date that you guys have been on this far, and just keep it simple.
Yeah. I would say the key is don't assume. I think
Assume what?
having an assumption that it's either like overrated and something that you should ignore, or that assuming that she's all about it and that by asking her out it means something more than what you want it to mean. Like, I just don't assume. Just be as casual.
Just make it like any other date.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can relate to that assuming, thinking that you know how things are going to like unfold.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Take it from me. Don't do that. Because that almost always sabotages what it is that you're actually wanting. So keep it casual, keep it open-ended, pressure-free.
Yeah. Set the standard.
Don't make assumptions.
Yeah. Set the standard from your end. You can't control how she's going to interpret it. Like, but what she makes that mean.
However she responds is your answer. Right.
Yeah.
So you're taking the temperature by asking or mentioning Valentine's Day is this Friday. What are your thoughts on Valentine's Day?
Don't ask that. Why would you ask what their thoughts are? You don't need to if you guys just started seeing each other, if you've only been on a few dates, you do not need to figure out like what she feels about Valentine's Day. Just ask her out. Just ask her out and see if she wants to go do something with you on Valentine's Day. Like if she's into you, she'll be excited that you asked her out for Valentine's Day. It doesn't mean that you have to make it into this bigger thing that you guys are exclusive in a relationship, because this day is not just for couples. Okay. So if you want to take somebody out, take her out. Just ask her. You don't need to make it into a big deal if this is something that's new for you. If you've been seeing somebody for a while, then I would make Valentine's Day into a big deal. And to that point, we also had a question that asked, what's the best way to plan a Valentine's Day date that feels special but not over the top? And so like if you are somebody that is in a relationship with somebody and you're trying to navigate how to plan a nice Valentine's Day without like blowing all of your money on a single day, or without just being too over the top, I think really planning anything that's different or special than what you guys normally do, like just acknowledging Valentine's Day, and like again, it doesn't have to be over the top, but acknowledging it to your girlfriend or your partner, like it will go a long ways. And so like just getting her flowers or getting her something that I think is kind of cute is like doing like a little basket of some of her favorite things. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but like her favorite snacks. If she likes wine, maybe her favorite bottle of wine. Maybe there's products that she uses every single day. Like mine's like my makeup remover that I am always having to rebuy. Like you could get her like some of the things that she's always having to rebuy, right? Like it doesn't have to be anything crazy, but like just showing that you put some thought into it, just showing that you care that it's Valentine's Day because she cares, right? Like that goes a long ways. I think doing something like making a nice meal together.
Yeah. Something that kind of comes to my mind is asking her like which of these things do you love most? And showing her that you've already paid attention. You know that she loves food, she loves dogs, she loves wine, and she loves coffee. Which of these things do you love most? I mean, you could even like create a cute little Valentine. I could help you with that.
But you email us back now. Maybe my mom can get one made for you.
Have her check the box. And it's showing like so much.
Asking if she'll be your Valentine, is that what you're saying?
Well, I just think that it's showing that you're paying attention. You know that she loves these things.
Yeah.
But you're asking, which one do you love the most? And then maybe it's like, she loves dogs. And so, okay, for Valentine's Day, you're going to go to the Humane Society or you're going to go do puppy yoga.
You're gonna pick her out a dog.
No, you can just do something that she loves. You know, she would love.
Yeah.
It's the day of love. And so it doesn't have to be all about you two falling in love, but you can still make it special and talk about the things that she loves. And you can show that you're paying attention because you already knew those things on the front end.
She will eat that up.
Just like my playing cards.
Okay. Not like those, but no, she will like... Really, if you can find ways to make her feel special, like that's really the best way to spend Valentine's Day without going over the top. Honestly, I think that that's what girls want. They want to feel special. They want to feel like you care. They want to like
feel seen, feel heard.
Yeah. Yeah. All the things. So yeah, I think that that's how I would go about it. So this was a question that I got earlier today, actually. And it says, if you're casually seeing two women, should you pick one for Valentine's Day or should you just lay low?
Okay. I don't think that Valentine's Day is the day to like force some exclusivity. Like,
right.
So I would instead, I think the better questions to ask yourself is like,
well, I think this is asking like pick one to go out with on Valentine's Day.
Should I pick one to go out with?
Yeah. Or just lay low. Because what if you pick one and then the other one asks what you're doing?
I mean, hopefully he's
been honest.
He hasn't, led her to believe that he's
only
exclusive.
Seeing one person. Yeah.
Right. So I think you can be honest about that. But I would just ask yourself, is one of them already feeling more of like a priority to you? If so, it makes sense to ask her out.
Yeah.
Right. Or are both of them still kind of in the early stages? And if so, I think it's totally fine to sit Valentine's Day out. Like, and not overcomplicate things.
Yeah, I think it really just boils down to like, what do you want to do? Is there one that you would want to go out with more? Or are you just like, I don't really care about Valentine's Day and I don't want to have to deal with the complications of it. So I'll ask them both out at separate times, like to go out on different days. Right. Yeah. Like, I think that, yeah, exactly. I don't think that there should be any like anxiety around this. Like, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings if I'm going out with this girl over this girl. Like, if you guys are in the early enough stages of dating where you are exploring options, like you shouldn't feel obligated to ask either of them out specifically for Valentine's Day, but also like you shouldn't feel obligated to ask one over the other. Like, if you have one in mind or one of them's asked you, then go with that one. Like, go out with her. She already said that she wants to go out with you. So, and then the other one, if it comes up, you can just say, yeah, I actually have plans on Friday, but we should definitely get something scheduled for, and then you can give another day. Yep. Right. Like, it doesn't have to be made into this big deal. If she asks you what your plans are on Valentine's Day, which I feel like most women wouldn't, but if they do, then be honest. Like,
Amen.
Yeah, you can say, I actually have a date. And again, you don't need to make some big deal out of it. And if that turns her away, then that turns her away, right? Like this, if you've been open about this up until this point, or you guys aren't exclusive, then that can't really be held against you that you already have a date lined up. Right. And if anything, I would say it only really makes you more valuable because like you weren't waiting around.
You're in demand.
Yeah, you're in demand and you weren't waiting around for her to come ask you about Valentine's Day. You already have plans.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you think that it's weird to go out by yourself on Valentine's Day? For the men who are listening, you've already said that the couples are coupled and they're out doing their thing. So you can assume, after I just got done saying don't assume, but you are more likely to find the single women who are out.
Yeah.
Do you think it's weird to go out by yourself on Valentine's
I don't think it's
Day?
weird. I think that you definitely can go do things for yourself on Valentine's Day, whether that's like going out to a social setting, like a bar or something. I think that's totally fine. I think there's plenty of other things that you can do that are very social that we don't need to have like a bunch of single buddies that will go out with you. Find a social event, there are so many dating specific events going on right now, and especially this weekend. So I don't think you'd have any problems finding something like that if you wanted to. I would say if you're going to go out solo, there's no problem in going out to like actual social settings where you could actually meet other women and things like that, I would say. But if you're like, I'm not sure where to go, or I don't really feel comfortable like going and sitting by myself and doing something, like go find a social group or something, like an activity, or like sign yourself up for something, sign yourself up for a class or something, like something that actually sounds interesting to you. Again, I think that like singles are, I would say women, like single women are looking for things to like busy themselves with. So they're also signing up for the classes and trying to find ways to distract themselves from Valentine's Day. Right. So like just getting out and being social, I think is your best bet at like making the most out of your Valentine's Day. And you don't have to be like in a group of single buddies unless you want to. Like you definitely can go do that too. You can rally the troops and go out and see what girls are out, hanging out with their girlfriends. I think that there's going to be plenty of people out doing things that are single, but you can also like make it a day about yourself. Go find activities that actually sound enjoyable to you and go do those. And you never know who else is going to be in that class who also was trying to find something to do for themselves that you can meet.
Yeah. I think, I know we've said this before in other podcasts, but using your network, like telling your friends, even if, your friends are coupled up or married, that, you want this to be the last Valentine's Day that you're single, and getting like really just expanding your team, I think is probably one of the smartest things you can do. Somebody recently told me that they were single, not knowing that we were life coaches.
We actually run the top dating podcast for men.
Yeah. And
I always think it's so funny when I run into people that I meet people that I don't know, and it happens to be a single guy, and they're like, so what do you do? I'm like, I'm actually a dating coach for men.
Right. Yeah. So I actually just sent one of our podcasts to this person and said, maybe this would help. Not even saying it's our podcast.
Yeah.
And
our face is plastered on it, so he probably got the hint.
I don't think he did. Until he listened to it, I don't think he knew. So, because it was, I don't know, at least 24 hours before he reached back out and went, oh my God, I cannot believe this is your podcast. Said something to that effect.
Yeah.
But I think back to what sparked all that, and he was very vulnerable and told me that he's single and he's
trying to meet women,
somebody. And I'm like, that is the smartest thing you can do. Like,
and the best people to tell that to? Middle-aged women.
Hell yeah.
They will wing women the shit out of you.
Who make Valentine's Day cards.
Yeah.
Like it's their job.
Yeah. You never know what angle she can work for you. Yep. Honestly, like, because they just, especially if you're like, you have a relationship built with this person or whatever, they like being around you, you're in a fun setting like pickleball, like women are more than excited to be like, oh my gosh, I know the perfect person I'm going to set you up with.
Yep.
You should make a lot more middle-aged women your best friend. That's really what I'm saying.
Yes. Yep. So that's the challenge outside of showing up for the masterclass on Friday. Make middle-aged women your best friend. Show up for the masterclass. Don't have assumptions when it comes to asking somebody out. If it's somebody that you've recently started dating or it's somebody that you want to take out on a first date, don't assume.
Yeah.
Make it very easy, casual, low pressure. You're going to know what her take on Valentine's Day is by the way she responds, and don't make it mean anything. Now you know, right? Let's move forward from there. But the fact that you guys all showed up to listen to this podcast tells us that you're ready to be intentional. You're ready to make this Valentine's Day the last Valentine's Day that you're single. And we're here to be a part of your team. So good on you. Let's go. We're going to do everything we can to help you. And we're going to have fun while we're doing it too.
Yeah, absolutely. Grab your spot in the masterclass if you're listening to this before Friday the 14th at 5 p.m. It's going to be a good one.
Get there early.
Yeah, definitely get there early.
Hate to see people who have registered not get a seat. So
yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, that concludes our Valentine's Day edition.
Yeah.
We will see you next week. And until then, take care.
Thanks for listening to Just Ask Her. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to rate and review us. And be sure to follow Gracie on TikTok and Instagram at @datingwithgracie. Thanks again for listening.